Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Well, a federal judge has just overturned California's ban on high capacity magazines. And that that allows you, Mr. Joe Citizen, to buy high capacity magazines. And there's going to be a run on them soon. Now that the ban is lifted, there's still a 10-day period where Rob Bonta, the Attorney General from state of California, will most likely file an appeal and still continue his losing battle on the uh, low capacity magazines, the 10 round capacity magazines. And here in California, that's pretty much been in effect since the Brady ban, the Brady bill back in 1992. Because I bought two weapons before the Brady bill went into effect, and I at that time I had my FFL, but I didn't know if uh, that the Brady bill was going to affect me as a federal firearms license carrier. Um, and it was crazy. And the two weapons that I purchased, now they were modern weapons. One of them was a Browning high power, which I never fired, and I put away and stored with a close friend, a friend that I don't talk about much or at all, and um, he 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 held onto these weapons for me, and then also my special operations weapon, which was uh, my H&K, HK Heckler and Koch, USP 45. And I recovered that one. I retrieved that one from my friend, so I now carry the USP 45. But I mentioned both of those guns because uh, the USP I purchased during California's ban, but because I have a FFL, I am not held to the California regulations. I am considered a federal uh, uh, agent of the government. And so with that FFL, I can purchase standard carry weapons. In my case, my standard carry for my special ops, the USP, that was 13 round clip, and plus one in the chamber. If you're like anybody who's been around guns, I grew up with guns. I started shooting BB pistols when I was 6 years old and got quite good at it. And then rifles, by the time I was 8, we were going out to the range and preparing me to go out with my uncles to go hunting in the winter and in the spring. So um, I've been around firearms, and limiting the capacity of self-defense weapon is idiotic, because we know that the criminals, how many times have you seen on the news that they recovered stolen guns or guns, ghost guns even, and you look at the magazine, those aren't 10 round magazines. The criminals are running around, they're getting 30 round to 100 round magazines. They don't care about the law, the 10 round. The only ones that are being harmed by the stupid 10 round uh, regulation here in California was John Q. Public. If you bought a gun and uh, if you purchased uh, um, a standard non-California magazine, in this case, let's say a Glock 17, and the standard from the factory G17 has 17 rounds in the magazine, but because of stupid California regulations here in California, that same weapon can only be shipped and sold with 10-round magazines, and 10-round magazines are the only thing available in the state of California. But the state of California neglected to regulate outside online sales of gun parts, and so that's how all these ghost guns are being created. A lot of the parts and components are coming from out of state through our standard USPS mail or UPS or even FedEx. So we need to equal the playing field for John Q. Public. And all of my weapons have always been the highest capacity that will fit in the standard pistol. My Glock 17 had the mini extension on the magazine, so I had 19 round clips, and it fit just fine, and it concealed just fine because it didn't stick out like a 30 round mag or a 100 round snail. So this helps California gun owners and those with self-defense. Police officers have been, or law enforcement officers have been the only ones up until now to have the standard carry magazines, which are 15, 17 round magazines. And right now there's a really new gun that looks pretty incredible. And I've encouraged my friend who held on to my guns to go look at this specific gun, because it would work very well for an older couple who aren't big gun fanatics or anything, and have no intentions of being, gun fanatics. But today, in these times, they realize, even in Sacramento, that it's dangerous. And my friend is the same age as me. He's just 2 months younger, and so he's got health issues. He's heavy, and so anyway, he needs protection, and he could be easy target because his mobility is very limited, him and his wife, and it's just them, and there's nobody that comes to check on them, and so that makes them easy prey, unfortunately. And so they need protection, and so I've been recommending a few weapons for them, and before I actually acquire one for them and register it for them, that they go out and try these weapons in the local gun stores. Take a look at it, hold it, feel it, and if they're also associated with a shooting range, ask if you can rent it to fire it, and see if you like it, because nowadays, once you spend the money, that's your weapon, and so that's good news for Californians. I approve the federal judge overturning the California ban in my assault weapons. All of my weapons, far exceeded 10 rounds. I had full combat clips for my AR style weapons, and they weren't 30 rounds. These were 40 round clips, for 223 on my AR, and then my big bore AR, that was still a 30 round clip for a 308. So that was a pretty heavy weapon to carry around, but that's neither here nor there. And it was a joke to go into a gun store to look at a weapon and see assault weapons with 10 rounds. Like, why? And all it didn't really discourage anybody because it was pretty simple. You could just go online and order the high capacity magazines, and there was no ban on uh, selling those and then shipping them into California, which is what has been happening, and that's why the criminals have been getting around all the laws. And then also same thing with ammunition. Ammunition has some different regulations, but uh, it it was just recent that new laws came into play that slowed down the movement of ammunition online from online and coming into California. So uh, some of the um, things I agree with, uh, but unfortunately, we're still not getting the things that should be in place, which number one are background checks for any weapons that are sold nationally anywhere in the United States. That should be an automatic and 10-day waiting period with at least a 5-day waiting period at the very least. And that's for people with psychiatric or mental issues, also those that are thinking about doing domestic violence or violence and need that weapon. And so that buys time for law enforcement and background checks to catch that. Also, any reports that come in that might um, be intercepted by the inquiry, the 5-day, 10-day inquiry. And then there should be, if you're going to be a carrier, there should also be a mental uh, background check so that you have the mental wherewithal to know a good and bad situation, and one that warrants shooting and one that does not warrant shooting, because we have too many people running around with guns that just go out and point their guns uh, haphazardly and to threaten people and intimidate people, and we don't need that. And but it is good to see that California, you are us, the residents of California, can now buy high capacity magazines. Maybe not so much from our local stores yet, but that's soon to be uh, in place if you have a gun store, because unfortunately, California regulations have run uh, most of all the gun stores out of business, or revoked their licenses, regulated them into oblivion. And that's why I'm an FFL. I don't need to go into any of those stores to acquire a weapon. I can. I have a license and cleared by the United States government, where I can acquire any weapon anywhere from any company anywhere in the world, also along with ammunition and special accessories. So it's a very, very uh, regulated license to carry, because it gives me an incredible amount of access to pretty much anything that will kill people. And I don't use it that way. I use it just like my brother did. My brother, my half brother, when he was part of the DoD, and then he went to work with NASA. He was an authorized FFL CCW also, and he carried his weapon of choice was a Dan Wesson 38 Super. That was his carry, and at the time when I was starting out, I was carrying a Beretta, what most people would know as a M9 if you were military, or if you were civilian, it was a 92 FS. And I carried a 92 FS. Uh, and while my brother weapon had more knockdown power, essentially, with the same bullet. Uh, but I carried a more than twice what he was capable of doing. His Dan Wesson only carried 7 rounds. I was carrying 19 in the clip plus 1 in the pipe, so I had 20 rounds in my G17 and then 16 in my Beretta. My Beretta 92 carried 15 round clips plus 1 in the pipe, gives you 16 rounds in your opening. And so it's important to have capacity, kind of like what ended up happening to Ursi Joyner. His Glock G30 ran out of bullets because he only had 10 rounds. He had fired out 10 rounds. He had no way of reloading. I never heard if he had even carried a spare magazine on his person in the event of an action like that. But yet he was shot 22 times a couple years ago and survived. And if it wasn't for his own personal weapon, but again, the limitation of that small clip of only 10 rounds severely limited his ability to defend himself. While he did kill one of the suspects, he missed or was not able to shoot the other perps, and he actually emptied his gun entirely. And by the time he was not able to walk, he was faking like he still had bullets in his gun, which he said that he did not. And so Ursi Joyner was lucky in that sense, that even after taking 22 rounds from 3 different perps, he was still able to defend himself and stay alive. And that was with the limited capacity 10-round clip. Whereas a weapon like mine, the G17, or even the Beretta 92 FS, that would have given him, more than 50% capacity, 50% more rounds to defend himself. And that's what it comes down to in a gunfight. If you've never been in a gunfight, it is a very scary situation with things exploding around you. And if you're not able to send things back, something's going to end up ending your life very quickly. And me being a full-time carrier, and I do, and I make sure that my gun is charged. I also know where my bullets are going to end up. Yeah, I am an expert shot with my weapons. So thanks for joining me today. Go get those high capacity magazines.